Today we're going to look at solving multi-step equations. We're going to continue our discussion on that. We will make it a little bit more difficult today, just a couple more steps that we need to do. So you can see our first example. What do I need to do first before I can solve for x? Well, if I look at this, you'll notice I have like terms here. So before I can actually get x alone, I need to combine some like terms. So I got 3x plus 4x, that's going to give me 7x. Negative 9 plus 4 gives me negative 5. And then I got equals 9. So now I can solve this. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That gives me 7x equals 14. Then if I divide both sides by 7, I'll get x equals 2. And once again, just want to show you, I won't show you on every step, but how you can check your work. If I plug this back into my original equation, 3 times 2 plus 4 times 2 minus 9 plus 4. So if I simplify this, I got 6 plus 8 minus 9 plus 4. 6 plus 8 is 14, so 14 minus 9 plus 4, 5 plus 4, that's 9. And notice, we were seeing, does this equal 9 this whole time? And 9 equals 9. So that's good to go. We checked our work, x is equal to 2. So let me walk through a couple more examples, and then I'll give you some time to practice some. So first thing you want to identify, your common terms. I got a 3h minus h, and I also have, on the right-hand side of the equation, 2 and 10. So if I combine like terms here, I'm going to get 4 plus 2h, 3h minus h is 2h. And then on the other side, I got 2 plus 10, which gives me 12. So now, my next step to solve this equation, I am going to subtract 4 from both sides. So I get 2h equals 12 minus 4, which is 8. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I get h equals 4. Make sure to check your answer on that. Then on my next problem, I got 5x plus 7 minus 2x plus 1 equals 12. Identify your like terms and then combine them. So you get 3x plus 8 equals 12. So now you just got to solve. First thing, subtract 8 from both sides. So I get 3x equals 4. And then all I have to do is divide both sides by 3. So I get x equals 4/3. Next, pause the video, practice these for a little bit. Alrighty, use this time to check your work, jot down any questions that you have, or fix any mistakes that you might have made. Alright, and the last thing we have to talk about is solving with the distributive property. That's the only aspect we haven't done. And there are multiple ways that I can solve this. One way is to actually do the distributive property. So that means distribute that 3 to everything inside x minus 2. So 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times negative 2 gives me minus 6, and that equals 12. From there, you've just got a two-step equation. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. I'm going to get 3x equals 18. And then just divide both sides by 3. I get x equals 6. So that's the first way that I can solve that. Because I've got distributive property, I can actually distribute it and then solve from there. The other way is to first identify what's that 3 doing to this whole group right here, x minus 2. Well, 3 is multiplying x minus 2. So how do I undo multiplication? I can divide both sides by what's outside the parentheses. And when I do that, this is going to cancel out, leaving me just with x minus 2, just with what was inside the parentheses. And on the other sides, I got 12 divided by 3, which is 4. So then to close this out, I just need to add 2 to both sides. I get x equals 6. And you'll notice we got the same x in both examples. Because it doesn't matter which way I solve it, I should get the same x. And if you don't, then you probably made a mistake along the way. So go ahead, try that both ways. And then sometimes you can't just do it both ways. So in the second practice example, you'll notice here you have to combine like terms. You can't just divide everything by 3. So it's very important to be able to identify which way you can solve your problem. All right, so pause this and practice those problems, and then resume it, and the work will be there. So here you'll see your work for practicing both ways, whether you use the distributive property or whether you divide both sides by the number outside the distributive property. I would recommend, these are both ways that you can do it. I'm going to recommend that you just use the distributive property though. Okay? There are going to be some times where your second way may be a little bit easier, but that's just my personal preference, maybe using that distributive property. But you just need to practice it so that you're able to do both. So that's that work there. Pause it if you need to see anything worked out. And then your second example, you should get x equals negative 16/5. So I had to do the distributive property here because I didn't want to divide both sides by 3 since I had this second term right there. All right, so that's what I'm saying, where I recommend that first version, just use the distributive property. But like I said, just got to practice it. So if you have any questions, make sure you jot those down. Other than that, have a great day.